And here's the thing with this. 9 Hours, 9 Doors, 9 Persons is a bit of a strange game. It's technically a visual novel. It has multiple endings. I could declassify the number. It doesn't have 9 endings, sadly. That was the perfect one to throw! That was the perfect one to throw! The help! But yeah, out of all of the endings within this game, some of them are very dark and involve a lot of deaths. Others, people make it out alive. And I've been drowned by noms. Ow. After you get your first ending, you gain access to something called Memories of the Escape, which allows you to rewind to specific parts of the game to unlock other endings. Remember to save after you get your first ending. There are 6 total. And we just got one of the 2 darkest endings of the game. The axe ending. And again, this is when one of the more annoying parts of this game crops in that we have to play through the game again to get another ending. And I accidentally hit the wrong button. God damn it. Why do I do this to myself? There's a lot of imagery in this game, and a lot of little tells here and there in places that lead to more important payoffs later. I refuse to spoil any, though. I will, however... Ow! I will, however, just reset the ROM just in case, so I can actually use my controller and skip. Because, at least with Decimame, I have everything mapped to a controller, so yeah, makes it cleaner. I did save. I did save, game. What the fuck? You've got to be kidding me. Really? Thanks. Like, full blunt, when I was designing this... Uh, fucking course. Yay. Then, in that case, let's not worry about that, get a different ending. Right, Blake's design. I did take a bit of inspiration from a couple different places. Canonically, Blake is, well, put bluntly, a survivor of some type. I'm not going to explain how, because that story hasn't been declassified yet. So I decided to take that into mind when designing their clothing, I should say. Because Blake is technically 2 people, Sage and Zinnia. I figured, hey, let's go with the tattered clothing look. So, what might fit for this particular character? I happen to like vests, so yeah. Let's do a vest for Blake of sorts. technically it's a torn hoodie, but regardless. Like Lois's outfit. If I remember correctly, there is a specific reason why she's wearing the clothes that she is. I think it's more succinctly explained in the second game. And I thought there's bits and pieces in another route if we decide to take it. I think we can take it, actually. And it's going to have information that's going to be important for other routes. Yes, I did. For the most part. And besides that, in that specific dialogue branch, the latter option is pretty much like 2 lines, and then it just skips to testing the elevator. So there's not really much to read. I'm still waiting when we get to one specific path, though, because, obvious reasons. One of this game's biggest memes. But unfortunately, that's going to be fairly early in another playthrough that we actually get access to that. Quick blood warning, by the way, because there's going to be a dead body, or the remains of one. This is a game that's rated M for mature, so what'd you expect? Look at all that tasty tomato sauce! Yummy. Yummy, 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 I've got sauce in my... Yeah, I'm done. Where's all the pasta? Funny you say that, because one of the descriptions they actually use in that specific scene was, like the intestines are scattered about like so much pasta. That's crazy. Isn't this ship gonna sink in a few hours? If Zero was here with us, he'd be putting himself in danger. Why the hell would he do something like that? There's no motive. Clover looked up at Junpei. Her face fell. You don't believe me. Her eyes were pitiful. The moment Junpei met them, he felt his heart tighten. He didn't think that what he said was wrong, but perhaps the way he said it had been. Clover had just lost her brother. His death would have been bad enough, but she'd also seen the blasted wreck of his body. Junpei barely knew him, and the sight had been enough to make him sick. What Clover had felt, we couldn't begin to imagine. In the mental state she must have been in, it was understandable she would look at those around her with suspicion. She felt everyone was against her. The least Junpei could have done was try to understand what she was feeling. He felt ashamed of what he'd said. Perhaps, he thought, I should apologize. But before he could even begin... Clover, I understand what you're feeling. You don't feel you can trust any of us. Ace had beaten Junpei to the punch. Ace's face was calm and friendly. But you have to understand, the more we distrust one another, the further we fall into our true foe's trap. Zero was the one who did all those horrible things to your brother. Do you want to let yourself be manipulated by someone who would do such a horrible thing? Clover didn't answer. She didn't even look at Ace. The whole time, her eyes were on Junpei. You could feel Clover's eyes boring into him. The color of a deep winter lake. Junpei saw no suspicion in them, only sadness. Alright. So we're finally at this decision again, and if I remember correctly, this one will affect what ending we can get. So, let's see here. We've gone through door 1. Let's try door 2 this time. This is text we've seen before because we knew Junpei cheated. Jin and I want door 6. Clover and I chose door 1. That's not good. We can't open either door. Everyone was silent. Clover spoke, her face blank and cold. I don't sense on June going to door 1 with Ace. They looked at one another. Then what will you do, Clover?
I'll be waiting at the stairs. You're coming back here, right? That's what Seven was saying.
Well, that had been what 7 had said. So we find that 9 door. 0 ain't gonna split us up. We might get separated for a little while, but we'll see each other again. Otherwise, we can't open door 9. That's how the notary game works.
I'm sorry. I just want to be by myself for a bit. You understand, right?
There was no emotion on her face, but it was drawn and pale. Her eyes were red. No one had the heart to contradict her. The room grew quiet. Silence drifted down over everything like a blanket of fresh snow. It was Santa who finally spoke. Alright, I'm going through door 1. That alright with you, June? June just nodded. And just like that, their paths were set. Junpei would be away from June for a time, but it had been his choice, and he'd have to make his peace with it. 7 had said they'd all see each other again. Junpei believed him. Ace, Santa, and June headed toward the central staircase and the number 1 door. Clover followed. After seeing them off, Junpei, 7, and Lotus stepped into the elevator behind them, descended to the bottom deck. Yeah, Monty wouldn't know this, but Snake and Clover are very, very attached to one another. It'd be impossible for either of them to kill each other. And besides that, again, on reminder, Snake was pushed into a door that Clover wouldn't have been able to open without our help specifically. Actually, no, wait. Without June's help specifically, because that would yield 13 and allow them to do that. But again, June is the least violent person out of the lot of them, and Clover doesn't exactly have a motive to kill her brother either. It wouldn't make sense. The only other combinations of people that could have killed Snake would have been 2 people whose bracelets yielded 10 for a total. So that would mean that would mean the combinations are 4 and 6, so June and Clover, 3 and 7, which would be Santa and 7. 2 and 8, which would be Lotus and, well, Snake himself, which wouldn't make sense. And lastly, yep, Daniel has it written out right there. Ace and Ninth Man, with such, Ninth Man isn't around anywhere. So it's also physically impossible to be Ninth Man. Unless we're missing some information. But we'll get to that. There's a short hallway with 5 doors along the walls, 3 doors along the left, and a single one on the right. At the end, a 5th door covered by a thick metal plate. Junpei didn't think they'd be able to open it. After taking a look around the room, 7 spoke up. Alright, let's get started. Think we'd probably better split up. You 2 okay with that? Yeah, no problem. Sure thing. 7 nodded to them, stepped into the room closest. Lotus looked at the doors, headed for the one in the center. Junpei was left alone. Guess I better get started too. He looked intently at the remaining 3 doors. Seek a way out. This is the confinement room. And we know we can't do anything with that door, because we're lacking a lot of information. I thought of that. Tried a couple of things, but yeah, same result. 7 was about to do anything. Okay. A mirror with some type of river painted on it. Butler is a murderer. Hello, Muffin. Welcome. We just got our first ending, the axe ending, where someone went off the deep end. We're about to get a second, actually. Looks like a chair for prisoners. Rusty, but I don't think it's gonna be a lot of help. Isn't that obvious? Look, I don't want to touch anything unless I have to. Lotus is not having this. Does she really not want to be in this room that bad? And there's nothing in the drawer. Something's not right, though. That handle doesn't really fit, you know? Looks messy. Why don't you take it out? And for one reason or other, we have an entire drawer. There's no way you could hide a puzzle in something that small. I know. Still, it seems like I might try to... Wait. There's something... There's something in there. There's something we could do with that in a bit. But for now, let's keep investigating the cells. Dirty blankets. Let's go. Okay, stay safe. Stay safe, Monty. Ag. Can't say I want to sleep there. What's this supposed to be? A drawing of a whirlpool? Well, that's a guess. It's trying to look like water. Ow. Hey! A tile. Can't exactly pry it out. But, there's another drawer. What the hell? It's not opening. There's something up with this drawer. I don't trust it. Yeah, maybe the fact that there are, I don't know, screws? Screw this. Screw this desk. I could just barely see a mirror from the light coming through the ceiling. Sure would be nice if that mirror was a little lower down. Looks like the same height as the mirror on the right. I wonder if that means anything. And yet another jammed desk, without a keyhole and without anything stopping it. How the hell am I supposed to open it? I guess we could investigate the sink. No light shining on it. Hard to be sure because it's so dark here, but I don't think there's anything going on with the sink. The faucet is too hard to turn on. Hey! Bird is indeed the word. Let's see, I'm trying to remember what I need to... Oh, right! I forgot. What do you do when you're stranded at the toilet bowl? I doubt I'm gonna need this for anything. Well, this part's thinner than the rest. Actually, it doesn't look like it's part of the rest of this thing at all. Couple turns. Here we go. Ow! Rude! I feel like I got shafted. But I'm Tish. Can you throw that stuff at Monty? Sure. I'll make sure to. Distracted by the music, sounds like he uses the same sound font as... I think I know what you're talking about. I think I know which song you're talking about, actually. The da 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 da. That one. That one. Apparently, there's a toilet lid with a sun on it. Can I flush this? Loose. Think it'll come off if you pull it? Huh. Fell off. It doesn't really fit. Maybe it wasn't meant to be attached by it. I wonder. Redial was the name of the song. Okay. And there we go, a filthy screwdriver. Yay! We're not screwed. Or not completely screwed. Let's hope it's a Phillips head. Yeah, we can open the drawer. There's nothing here. Well, maybe the drawer's what we need. The drawer. Alright, let's yank this thing out. Funny he mentions that, because the drawer is exactly what we need. There's a bump on the back. Wonder what it's for. Maybe there's a hole somewhere and these bumps line up with it and trigger a hidden switch or something? Yeah, we've seen weirder stuff. Doesn't seem that far-fetched. And I just want to check this. If I use the screwdriver on the center of the handle, maybe, Oh. So there's a knob. Fatidic. Filthy screwdriver sounds like a terrible cocktail! Yeah, you're not wrong. Just go up to the bar. Hello, I'd like to order a filthy cocktail. I'd like to order a cocktail. Yeah, what kind? A filthy screwdriver. Now, you could order a sonic screwdriver. A filthy screwdriver is like a sonic screwdriver. Only it uses sand. I heard something too. Let's open the drawer. And sure enough, there's a Scrabble tile! Yay! It's a blank tile! We can make all the words with a blank tile! Sandpaper. Yeah, sandpaper in the screwdriver. Brilliant idea. Paper seems to be pretty old. Ew. How can you touch that? It's horrible. It's not like I really got choice. It's not like I want to. Actually, come to think of it, just hanging from the wall. Well, if we're pulling the string, it must be a toilet that flushes. And there's a moon! Eco-friendly paper made of sand. So there's a moon symbol on this thing. Not really much interesting. The drain's kind of a weird shape. You think they made it that shape for a reason, or just for fun? Well, we do have a knob for this handle. So let's screw it on and prove myself a proper knob handle. I need to think about the words that come out of my mouth some days. Junpei, what are you doing? It's obvious. I'm running water. I can see that. I'm asking why you're just letting it run. Think about it, Lotus. This faucet didn't have a knob when we found it, right? What do you mean? Watch. Wait, water's filling up. Doesn't that mean the pipes are clogged? Let's turn it off. Anything change? Well, the water stopped flowing. Thank you, Mr. Obvious. Ugh, Junpei, I'm leaving this one to you. As it turns out, if I remember correctly, that doesn't affect this sink so much as another sink around here. Another Scrabble tile! Junpei put the wet tile into his pocket. He was about to turn away when there was a noise behind him. Seven was kneeling on the floor. His face was rigid and pale. Droplets of sweat covered his forehead. Hey, what's going on? You okay, man? He was concerned. He'd never seen Seven like this before. The other man lifted himself to his feet on shaky legs.
Yeah, I'm fine.
I just got a little dizzy, that's all. His face was pale, breathing heavy. Sweat was pouring off his face and staining his shirt. He was many things, but fine wasn't one of them. Are you sure? You don't look so good. Seven didn't answer. Half of his face was twisted as if distorted by extreme pain. His eyes were glazed. Finally, he spoke.
What am I doing here?
His words didn't make sense. What are you talking about? We opened the number 2 door and walked in here. Don't tell me you forgot.
No, that's not what I meant.
He shook his head several times, trying to clear it.
It ain't much, but I think some of my memories came back.
Hey!
I think I've been here before.
Huh?
I said I've been in this room before.
You were here. When? Why? Rude!
Oi, light, Nona.
Seven was mumbling to himself. They were words Junpei didn't understand. Rude! Seven's voice trailed off. Junpei couldn't make out what he said. Seven's brow furrowed furiously. He ground his teeth. It's right there. I feel like I'm this close to remembering, but I can't. He stopped, frustrated. He pulled his hat off, ran a hand through his hair. And then he looked up.
That's right! An experiment! There was some kind of experiment going on in this ship.
An experiment?
They were trying to control people, or something like that.
Junpei didn't know what to make of his story. He just stared at Seven as he continued.
Oi, Light, Nona. Those were their names. Some of them. The kids that were there. In the experiment, I mean. I think there were 4 or 5 more. I don't remember their names. Yeah, that's right. And that's why I'm here.
He began to mumble to himself, wander aimlessly. He looked confused. So far as Junpei could tell, the man was rambling. There were odd twitches to his movement.
Experiment.
Cradle Pharmaceutical. Those kidnapped kids. Was I working that case? He continued to mumble things that didn't mean sense. Junpei didn't have any answers, of course, and he couldn't understand what was happening. All he could do was wait. After a few minutes, Seven stopped. He crouched down, looked under the bed, and registered mild surprise as he mumbled to himself again.
The hole's gone. No, maybe it was a different room. There's gotta be a ton of rooms on this boat that look just like this one.
Hey, what exactly do you remember? Maybe you could stop talking like a crazy person and tell me what's going on? Seven stood slowly.
Well, maybe it's not like we remember anything. I've only got bits and pieces, and they're scattered, and I don't make much sense. I don't care.
I don't care. Tell me the bits and pieces. Junpei could feel it. Whatever Seven had remembered, it was important. Very important. This is plot-critical information, actually. Seven drew a large muscled hand down across his face, and he wiped the sweat from his brow.
From what I can remember, I think it was, a cop.
A cop?
Yeah. I was looking for that group of kids that got kidnapped 9 years ago. You remember that, right? It was all over the news.
Yeah, I was still in school. I don't remember all the details, but I do remember some of it. A bunch of kids right around my age. They all just disappeared. Nobody knew why. It was all over TV and the newspapers every day. You're saying you were investigating it?
Yeah, that's what it looks like. And I guess I found something.
Okay then, enjoy food, muffin!
There's this medical company called Cradle Pharmaceutical. It's something to do with those kids. And after I figured that out, I managed to get some information as someone who worked for them. They told me a ship would be leaving that night with all the kids on it. They were going to be taken to some kind of big passenger ship somewhere out in the ocean. He's got a gun!
So Seta headed to the wharf. He kept to the shadows, and before long he found the suspicious ship he had been looking for. A number of human shapes were moving toward it. Men in black suits. Many of them carrying bags. The bags... There was something about the way they moved as they were carried. There were humans in the bags. He'd moved before he even realized he was going to. Out of the shadows he came, gun in hand. He'd heard the words, "Don't move," but they weren't his. He felt metal touch the back of his head.
Drop your gun, came the voice.
With those words, he felt the cold metal thing behind him press against his skull. He crouched, laid his gun. Then suddenly, a sharp pain in his neck. A needle. A drug of some kind? As he was thinking about that, Seven felt his face hit the cold concrete. He could feel the chill of it seeping into him.